All right, good morning. Hello, everybody. Sorry, I feel like I'm having some internet issues. I don't know if any of you are having struggles, but I'm over on the east side of Simi, and our internet has been pretty awful for the last day or two. So hopefully we can get through our stream. Fingers crossed. Can you all hear and see me okay before we get going? Hopefully you can all hear and see me just fine, and we don't lose connection. We'll cross our fingers and hope. But if someone could let me know in the chat that you can hear and see me, that would be fantastic. And then we'll get started. Oh, great! Thank you, Sarah and Avia. Thank you. Perfect. Okay, good. I'm glad. So what we'll do, we'll go over the last reminders. This is our last week of the semester, our last Twitch live stream, so the last chance for us to kind of interact this way. It's always a little bit bittersweet, right? Like, it's exciting because I'm ready for summer, and I'm sure a lot of you are ready for summer, but a little bit sad because our class is pretty much over. But we do have a few things going on this week, so let me give you some of those reminders, and we'll go through them a little bit together, and then we'll call it a day. So let's head over to Canvas together here. So we are all the way here. We're in week number 17, which is so hard to believe. Our class officially ends this Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. So that's a very important deadline for you to keep in mind. Everything must be submitted before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. I can't give any extensions or accept late work because grades will be due very, very quickly after that. So please just make sure that you're planning ahead and trying to get everything in before that deadline. So I'm going to put that here in the chat. Oh, I had already written this out, so I'll leave this here. Thank you for those of you who have continued to keep that subscription active all the way through this semester. You could check one last time. This is our last week. So thank you. It makes my life so much easier, and I don't have to look you up and match your name to your username. So thank you for those of you who have done that, and please feel free to do that one more time for today. But thank you. Let me put in here, our class officially ends Sunday, May 16th. At 11:59 p.m. So just make sure that I've reviewed that one more time. We do end this Sunday, so make sure that everything is done before that deadline. But last week, overall, really largely well done. We were looking at ethical guidelines. Nice job reviewing those two scenarios that I gave you. Neither of them were too wild or unethical, but definitely a few different concerns. So very nicely done. Applying and reflecting on that. We have some stuff going on this week, so I just want to make sure that we have a chance to get through this. I'm definitely a little worried about the internet connection, so I want to make sure I get to go through this first for you. But this week, in our final week of our class, I'm sentimental, so as we get to the end, I'm like, it's the last everything, right? I'll say last or final way too many times today. But we have our fourth exam, so our last test and final exam. There is that little SLO exit question that I asked you all to do. And then the experimental proposal project is also due this week, along with the Twitch extra credit. So we have a few things still left to do. Some of you have completed these things already because the class was, or this week was opened a week or two ago for you. But let's go through each one of them, and if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. But we'll just go in order here and make sure that everything is clear. And then, of course, I'll give you that Twitch extra credit question at the end so that you can get those last 2 points for being here with me today. So the first and one of the bigger things this week is exam number 4. So if you click on exam number 4, it'll take you right to the link. Same format and style as the other 3 exams that you've taken this semester. So hopefully it is nothing surprising. It's very comfortable and familiar, or at least as comfortable as a test could be. But it is, you have 60 minutes to complete the exam. You get 1 attempt, so make sure you're ready and organized before you begin. Make sure you have good internet connection, as good as you can, a quiet place to take the exam. You can use your notes and book and anything at your resource, but do remember that if you're trying to look everything up, you are going to run out of time. So try and make sure that you have studied and prepared ahead of time and that you're organized and understand the materials before you get going. Canvas will stop your test once you hit that 60-minute deadline. So just make sure you're watching the clock. Skip questions if you don't know the answer. You can always come back to them. And then when you're done, you can hit submit quiz and you'll have a score right away. So this exam, a little different than the other three, does have a small cumulative portion on it. And I'll go over that here in a second on the study guide. But otherwise, it's the same format and style. A lot of you have done really well on these exams. They're very straightforward and hopefully very clear. So keep preparing the same way that you have. Be ready, be organized, and please try not to wait till the last minute, especially this week since the class is over Sunday night. Try to make sure that you take it Saturday or Friday. Take it a little early if you can, just so that you don't run into those last minute issues, which always seem to be the case, right? That we get those last minute problems. So the study guide for the exam is right here under week 17. If we click on that, you can see everything that you need to know for this test. And remember, if it's on the study guide, it will be on the exam. If it's not on here, you don't need to worry about it. So make sure that you're preparing and studying all these things. APA Formatting Part 3, Chapter 14, and Chapter 4. So those are the chapters that we've covered since the last exam. So most of the test will be on APA Part 3, Chapter 14, and Chapter 4. There is a small cumulative portion. It's about 10 or 12 questions or so that are things that we've covered throughout the semester. And these are things that we've been building on for weeks, so they should be very clear, and they're major concepts, so it's nothing obscure or tiny. And I gave you some guidance here of things to make sure you've reviewed. So go back and think about scientific thinking versus intuition and common sense, kind of way back in the beginning of the semester. Make sure that you remember the different types of claims that we have. The 4 validities, be able to identify each one of them. Correlation, directions, and strength. So if I were to give you a Pearson's R value or a scatter plot, I would hope that you could tell me if it was positive or negative or how strong the correlation would be. Be able to identify independent and dependent variables. If I gave you an example, it might be that you have to pick out the independent and dependent variable in the example. Know the difference between correlation and experiments, and then samples versus population and the different sampling methods and problems. So these are the major things that I might ask you about, or I should say will ask you about on the exam as far as those cumulative things. Otherwise, most of the test is on Chapter 4, all of the stuff related to ethical guidelines. Chapter 14 about replication, and here are all the terms that you need to know for that. And then some things related to APA Formatting Part 3. And I might give you some sources that are cited in the exam, and you have to tell me what's wrong or if anything is wrong, and so on. So make sure that you understand the major rules and the things that we covered for APA Part 3. So those are the major things that are on the test. Again, it's worth 50 points, just like the other ones. The only difference being that there is that kind of small cumulative portion as a way to review some of those major concepts that we covered throughout the semester. And if you've been reading and following along, those questions should be pretty sensical for you. They should be something that you should be able to answer pretty easily. So are there any questions related to the exam? Any questions about the test, the study guide, exam number 4, before we move on to the other components? Anything there I can answer for you? Oh, wait just a second, just to make sure, let you get caught up to me. And if you think of something, of course, feel free to put it in the chat, even if we've kind of moved on a little bit, or you can always email me later. But this is a great time to ask me, since we're here together live. I don't see anything yet, but if you think of something, go ahead and put it in there and I'll come back to it. The other things here, this one's really small, but I do need everybody to complete it. So it's a 1-question exit survey. So a little bit of research within the research class here. We're just trying to gather some data about our psychology students in our classes. So if you could click on this SLO question, it says it's worth 1 point, but it's not worth anything. It's just something that we do need everyone to fill out. So this should literally take you 10 seconds. When you're ready, you'll hit Start Survey. I already opened it once, so it says Resume. And you're answering 1 question. Psychology is a science, true or false? And this should be a very simple question and answer. But please take a second to do this. We do need the data from everyone. So it would be very helpful if you could just take 1 second to go and answer that question for me. The other thing that we have this week, which is much bigger than the 1-question survey, is your experiment proposal project is due. Now remember, you're writing, this is 3 components. You're writing a paper in APA style. Then you're also giving me a visual aid that's just like a 1-page flyer. And then a very brief video of you talking about your experiment, and maybe you're able to put your flyer or something up in the background, kind of like I'm sharing my screen with a small video. But all of that will be turned in right here under the experiment proposal project link. And notice here, if you didn't see these before, a couple of weeks ago I added these. I have a couple of sample papers for you of students from previous semesters and a couple of sample flyers so you could see what those look like. I thought that might be helpful for you to get an idea of how other people approach this. So these are all assignments that did really well, that got A's. So here's some samples. I hope those are helpful. And again, when you're ready, you'll open the instructions right here and make sure that you're following these, right? You're not writing an entire APA style paper, just certain elements of it. And I tried very hard to outline that very clearly for you here in the instructions. But this is worth more than an exams. This is worth 60 points, so please do take it seriously. And you're not actually conducting the experiment. A few of you have asked me that this week. You are just writing about a proposal. If you were to propose an experiment, this is how you would propose it. And it should be something written in APA formatting, APA style, but you're not actually conducting the experiment. Hopefully you pick something that would be interesting to do, but you're not actually doing it for our class. So in general, this will be about 5 to 7 pages, including the title page and abstract. Now remember, just a little hint, the abstract is always its own separate page, right? So these are little APA style formatting things that I'm going to be looking for. So make sure that you're remembering those as you go through. It should be standard margins according to APA style guidelines, typed, double space, APA style recommended font. Notice that you're not writing an introduction section. So these are the things that should be in your paper. You'll have a title page, formatted correctly, right? Formatting matters just as much as content for this. You'll have an abstract with a brief summary of and what you would expect to find. And then you're skipping the introduction section. You're not doing a literature review with citations. You're doing a method section. I'm really focusing in here on you showing me what you've learned over the course of the semester. I want you to describe to me how you would conduct this experiment. Who are your participants going to be? How many of them are you going to have? How will you be picking them? Showing me that you know how to avoid issues related to sampling and threats to external validity. So you'll have a method section with 3 subsections of participants, design, and procedure. In the design, you'll tell me all about the design of your experiment. Is it between subjects, within subjects? What are the independent and dependent variables? How are they operationalized? What are their levels or different like levels of those independent variables? Conditions that are happening. You'll be discussing how the participants will be assigned to groups. So here you're highlighting and showing off that you know how to avoid common threats to internal validity. So again, this is your chance to bring everything together and show me that you can take all that you've learned and apply it to your experiment. So make sure that you're very specific in telling me about the different levels and the variables and how they're defined and how you're going to do everything. And then the procedure is exactly what you would do. Describe what the participants will be doing from the time they begin the study to the moment they finish. You want to make sure you're giving enough detail that somebody could, in theory, do this experiment if they wanted to. You want to avoid any confounds, control for any potential disadvantages. Again, your chance to show off all of that knowledge that you have gained. The last section is you're making a discussion section where you'll tell me about your predictions, any possible limitations or ethical concerns, which we covered last week, that you might need to address. You could talk about future directions for your study. What are some other things that maybe someone else could look into that are beyond your study? How could you grow from it? And all of that will be in a paper that, again, is APA style and formatting and roughly 5 to 7 pages long. The last thing that you will do, the last two things, is you will create a digital flyer, which is worth, 15 points. Well, that's worth 10 and then the video. And then the digital flyer will be like a one-page visual portrayal of your experiment. And again, I gave you some examples of what that might look like. It should maybe have images, be kind of flashy, catchy, get attention, maybe some small details for your experiment. You'll create a short video then as well, really brief, under 2 minutes, otherwise the file size will be too big. And you'll upload that with it as well. So all of this is due before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. And I gave you a very detailed rubric here. So you can see that the paper part is worth up to 45 points, the visual aid up to 10 points, and the video 5. So all of these things do matter, and they will add up together to up to 60 points. So please do take some time to go through and work on this. Make sure that you are formatting it correctly, that you are addressing all of the questions. Also remember that those sample papers and flyers will be really helpful for you in seeing how other people did this. And all of them were ones that received A's. So hopefully that will be very helpful for you in trying to figure out how to format or how to like style your paper. So those are the two big things for this week, the exam and the proposal project. They're worth a lot of points together. So make sure that you're spending some time on them. You have all the way till Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Are there any questions about the exam or the project? Anything at all about the experiment proposal project or exam number 4? If you have issues uploading these for some reason, you could email it to me, but please try and upload it all here through Canvas. If you click right here, again, you're submitting it right here where it says Start Assignment. I have a question. Do we have to show the flyer when we are recording the video? You don't have to, but it might be nice to have something else to look at. It is typically nice, for you to have something else like on the background, kind of like right now how there is the whole page and then there's a small video of me in the corner. And if you have Zoom, you could easily do that, right? So if you have Zoom, which you probably have for your classes, you can just create a new meeting and you can record your screen along with a little video of you. And no, I wasn't able to get a sample video. I asked multiple students if they would let me use them as an example, and none of them were comfortable with it. So I wasn't able to post a video for you. So you just need to, take under 2 minutes. Tell me just really briefly about your experiment proposal. You could tell me the variables. You could tell me what you want to know. Just sharing just very briefly what it is that you're doing. And if you are able to show me the flyer, you could even print it and hold it up. That's fine too. You don't have to do it, but if you have it, I think that it's nice. So that's totally up to you. It's only worth 5 points, so don't stress incredibly about the video. I just think it's a fun way for me to see you and hear you talking about your experiment. So I'm sorry that it didn't record for you on Zoom. You could try it again, or you could just make a video without it. Either one is fine. If it were me, I like that you could look at something else. So rather than just staring at me, you have something else to look at. But that isn't required. You can just have the video if you would like. Okay. Anything else? Any other questions for now? Let me give you. I do have an extra credit question for you for today, and it's kind of a general question, but I think it's a good one. So our last Twitch extra credit question. So Twitch extra credit number 17. I want you to think of one specific thing that you enjoyed about this class, and one specific thing that you might change to make it better. Now, don't think so much about content, but think about like my assignments or teaching style. Did you like these Twitch sessions? Did you like the recorded lectures? I'm really very curious about your opinion with that. If you would prefer, the lectures having been live like we started with, or do you like them recorded so you can watch them later with captions? But is there something that you really liked and something that you would maybe make better? And please be honest with me, I won't be hurt or offended, but that will be your last chance to get those 2 points of extra credit. So when you're ready to do that, you will go back to Canvas and go to week 17, our last week where we are right now. You'll click on Twitch extra credit number 17, and then up at the top, start assignment. And then you can type your response right there. And then scroll down and hit submit. So you can do that anytime before Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. Again, make sure you're getting everything done before that deadline. There really isn't any wiggle room this week because it is our last week of the semester. So big things, exam number 4, and then there's the study guide. That 1 point or 1 question rather, SLO exit survey, the experiment proposal project with the paper, video, and flyer, and then the Twitch extra credit. So no discussion or lecture for this week. It's all the kind of big final stuff. So I look forward to reading your papers and seeing your faces in the videos. I'm sad that our class is pretty much over, but I hope you all have a wonderful summer, and I thank you so much for all of you who have been on here consistently with me every week, or at least watching it on YouTube or Twitch later. I really appreciate you joining me. It just makes it that much more dynamic. What I will do, I'll hang out for a little bit if you have any other questions. We made it through with the internet, so that's great. But I'll hang out if you have any other questions about the project or the final exam. But since I won't see you after this, I hope you have a wonderful summer. Please try to take care of yourselves. Continue to stay safe, and take care of your stress and your health. And feel free to take another class with me. If you miss me, you're welcome to come back. I teach abnormal psych, human sexuality, research methods like this one, and then did I say intro psych and personality theories. So thank you all. Thank you for a wonderful online class. Sorry that we weren't in person, but hopefully we made the best of it. And before I get too sad or too sentimental, I'm going to minimize my video, but I will hang out for a little bit. If you have any other questions, sure, it's right up here. I'll copy it one more time. Here you go. So there it is again for you. One specific thing you enjoyed and one specific thing you would change to make the class better. Okay. So thank you all again. I'll hang out for a little bit if you do have questions. Otherwise, have a wonderful week, a wonderful summer, and I will hope to see some of you in future classes. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you very much.